So some days it's better to ride, and some days it's better to just stay inside. So you can't really see it that well, but it is raining. It's not raining that hard, actually. It's not raining a lot, but it's the thunder and lightning that's accompanying the storm that makes it so I don't really want to go out and ride. Unfortunately, it's beautiful temperature-wise. It would be great to do that, but as you can hear, I don't know if you could hear that, but thunder and lightning makes it so it's not quite as fun to go ride. But a fun thing happened today. I was checking on some parts to be delivered, and I saw, because they were coming from the Netherlands, I saw that they had been released from customs. Then the mail lady rang the doorbell and I got these today. So 2 brand new hubs for the Quest. So if you recall from the other video where I showed you about the Quest and the rear wheel and why it wasn't working right, why I couldn't climb the hill because it seemed like the rear sprocket, because it stripped out or something and happened in the back or whatever. And if you recall, these splines were stripped out. I retightened everything, put it all back together, and I've ridden it a couple of times, but always in the back of my mind I'm wondering, is it going to fail while I'm out on a ride? What I'm going to do now is rebuild the wheel. Now the fun part about doing this is I double checked Sheldon Brown's site and they said yes, you can reuse spokes, but a lot of the conversation dealt with reusing spokes in the rim when you're just replacing the rim. In this case, I'm not replacing the rim, I'm replacing the hub, so I have to make sure that all of the spokes that are laced on the inside of the hub stay on the inside of the hub, and all the spokes that are laced on the outside of the hub stay on the outside, because the way that spokes bend in relation to the hub, and if you recall, I don't know if you've ever been to Atomic Zombie, but he talks extensively about building wheels and hubs too, but as you notice that the flanges on the hub are 90 degrees from the axle, and so the rim sits in the middle of this, and so spokes travel in and out, you know, at an angle, and so the ones that are on the outside kind of bend over and the ones that are on the inside kind of bend in like this, and so have to make sure that I'm putting the spokes back in the same spot. I thought I would come out here, a nice rainy day, it's a cool weather day, and I'll get started on the rebuild of the wheel. So I wanted to set, now that I got the wheel off, I wanted to show you the difference between an old hub that kind of got messed up and a new hub. So here's the difference. Here's the difference between the 2 hubs. So as you can see, the new hub has all of the spline left in it. Another thing that I wanted to check on this wheel to make sure it didn't have any dish. And it looks like on a Quest there is no dish. And that means that the spokes on either side of the wheel are the same. I went and double checked on Sheldon Brown's site, and you can reuse spokes when you're rebuilding a wheel. This wheel is relatively new, and you'll notice that even from when it got flooded, I mean, there's no rust on it, there's no anything on it. The rim looks pretty good. So I'm going to take the rim tape off, and then I'll start loosening spokes, and I'm going to reuse the spokes that are on here. Now the other thing is I have to take into account is also the way the lacing is done. Because lacing is done in a certain way on bicycle wheels that you want to have the power pulling the wheel or something like that. I'm not sure exactly how it's supposed to work, but I'm just going to take these off one at a time and mimic what I have here. The rebuild starts. Okay, so after fighting with the lacing for a few hours, it was only a few hours because I went in for dinner. Now I'm starting the truing process. And this is the part to me that really takes art if you don't have the tools. And so just generally you can see that it's off a little bit, and so I'll start tightening up the spokes little by little, getting the wheel true in the middle, and I'll get that wobble out. It's just going to take some time because I don't have any tools. or I don't have a park truing stand or something like that. So I'll show you what I'll make up here in a little bit and put underneath it. Okay, sorry, I actually forgot to show you my setup here that I was going to show you. I just use a little clamp and a ruler on my table like this, and then as I spin the wheel, you can see how it rubs because it's a little bit out of true. So it's a little bit out of round. It's not centered on the hub. So I've got to tighten up all of these spokes over here, and then I'll go back and I'll move the ruler like this, and you can see it's got a little bit of wobble in it. I'll get that out again. Have never used a park tool, truing stand or anything like that, and I've always had pretty good luck doing it this way. Yeah, it's not perfect. I'm not one of the name brand guys building wheels, but I don't have to do this very often either, and it saves me a lot of money doing it this way. Okay, so for just an average guy who's just out riding his Velomobile for fun, and I'm not racing or anything like that, I want to show you after probably about an hour and a half of really truing the wheel. This is what I've come up with. Now I used this method one other time when I did this on my other Quest, when I rebuilt the wheel on that one. So obviously this one is not balanced and all that other stuff. It's not perfect, but for me, I think this is going to work. Check this out. So you'll notice just the tiniest little rise. But will that work when I've got a tire on it and I'm bumping down the road and I've got full suspension? I think that's going to work. I'm not going to worry about absolute perfection. I don't have calipers, I don't have all the park tools. Maybe one day I'll buy that stuff, but it's really expensive to true a wheel once every 2 or 3 years. So there you have it. That's how I did it. I just measured it out and put a ruler on there. So that's how I did it. You can see that it's almost perfect. Well, it's not almost perfect. It's almost, it's good enough straight. I'm not going to notice this bumping down the road. So for me, that's good enough. So that's how I did it on a Quest. I just pulled the axle out. Obviously put the Quest up on a table, pulled the axle out, used some clamps and a ruler, and then I've got my truing stand. I don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to get it right. And I know my axle's straight because it's a brand new axle. Alright, so there you have it. I'll go ahead and put it all back together now. Okay, so here's the final little thing I'll show you on this, the difference between a new hub and an old worn out hub because the bolt wasn't tightened enough. Of course, now I've got the new hub installed on the wheel. Got it back installed in the Velo. I put a Schwalbe Kojak on there that Cameron gave me. So now I have Kojaks all the way around, and we'll see how it rides. It's true side to side, pretty good, and has just the slightest bit of bump on the up and down, so it's out around just a little bit. Nothing that I'm gonna really worry about. If you got any questions, you got any comments, leave me a comment below. And until next time, cheers.